Today's topic, password management. Now, I decided to take this on at least on a starting off basis because, you know, we are all inundated with all these passwords. We're writing them down on pieces of paper. I get around my clients, like for instance, I was working with a client to update his website and I needed to know his ISP, you know, his login for his ISP. And he had no clue. It took him a while to get in touch with somebody at the ISP who could help him out. And I run into this a lot of times. And actually, I've had to deal with it also because I got the new 6S Plus. And you can do a restore from your prior phone, but as soon as you open that application for the first time, you got to have your username and ID for everything. So I decided I was going to make this a mission of mine to try and be helpful and give you guys some help with kind of wrangling in all of these passwords, because we're doing so much and it takes so much time, and then you end up not being efficient, which is one of my things for you, to be more efficient when you don't know where your passwords are, okay, or how to access them. So yes, we're all really concerned about security and being secure, and it is kind of scary to trust having all of this in one place, but at some point in time, yes, we have to go on and take the dive and put all of these together and get them organized in some place where you can get your hands on them. But know that there are ways to back up, especially this one product that I'm going to review today. It has a really cool way that you can actually get an email backup that's encrypted, and then you can put that aside so it's not in the cloud, and you can always keep another copy of all your data. Okay, so the other reason why I was bringing this up is because with the holidays, you want to go do online shopping, and you want to do it kind of in a secure way as well. And so it kind of prompted me that with all these different websites that we're going to, all of them, they want you to log in and have a password. Okay, so, and you want to go to the places where you can get the best value for your money, and so you might have a whole bunch of different websites, or you figure, oh, it's too much trouble, I'll just deal with this one. Well, here's a way that you can actually store and make sense of your passwords and actually make secure passwords, because a lot of you guys don't do secure passwords. Okay, get rid of 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, you gotta stop doing 1 2 3 4 5 6. Yeah, I have a client who was doing that. You gotta stop that. And don't use your name. Okay, so there's a whole thing with passwords about what you don't use in your password, because if somebody can guess it, then it's of no value to you. And then a lot of times you don't want to do, you know, these really crazy encrypted ones, because you'll never remember, and you don't have them in a place where you can retrieve it. Okay, so now with the smartphones, and being able to sync them up to your laptop or to your desktop, because a lot of the companies that actually make these tools, they make it now so you can sync them together and you don't have to do one without doing the other. It gets done for you automatically, which is a wonderful thing. And yes, we have to put our faith in that they don't want you to badmouth them if your data is not secure. So, because they want you to buy their products, okay? So there's an economic stake in making and keeping us secure. And yes, some do it a little better than others, and some are learning their lessons, and others are paying attention to the lessons that others have had to learn and try to get ahead of the problem. So, okay, so I'm not beating up on Sony, but Sony is hard to get their lessons learned about having their subscribers hacked. So maybe after the second massive hack to their subscriber base, database, they'll get a clue and actually take better precautions. So it's a whole nother topic, but we can talk about, and you can look for if the data is encrypted. You know, there's encryption. Learn about encryption, and what encryption actually does is scramble. It creates a scramble for your data so that someone has to have the decrypt code to actually get your data. And now there's different levels of it, and right now 256 or 256K data encryption is the top end. Well, there's other grades too that the military use that we don't know about. But at least if you want to look, and as you're researching for yourself, start looking for 256K encryption, okay? 128 is pretty much the standard, but look for 256 and see that it has the features that you want. Okay, so with the holiday shopping and all of this, you know, we've got all these different passwords and user IDs and all of that. We need to get more efficient and get those assembled. So I have found the tool that I'm using right now, the app that I'm using is one called mSecure. Okay, it's mSecure Password Backup. And this is the one that I'm using right now. It is for Android and for iPhones, okay, for iOS, and now for Windows Phone. So Windows Phone people are just totally rejoicing. So this is the icon for mSecure's application. Okay, yeah, because I guess in the last couple of months, they actually launched the Windows Phone version, and people are really, really ecstatic. So you do have, so what I'm going to show you today is pretty universal across all three of those platforms for security. Okay, so I found just generically that this particular one allows me to be able to create different types and different categories so that I can very quickly go to that particular category when I'm looking for password information. Okay, so I've got some screenshots that I'm going to share with you. So if you can look up for a little bit and check out the screenshots, you can get a real good feel for where I'm going with this and what this product is about and what you should be looking for in a product if you don't do this one. At least there's some basic things that for your own efficiency's sake you should be able to look for in whatever application that you get. Okay, so our first, are you ready, Chris? Okay, so our first one, I'm going to look at them on my laptop today because I had them all printed out and the papers are just everywhere. Okay, so Chris has got it controlled here. The first one, so with mSecure, of course, you're going to download the app. And yes, there is a fee. Let's talk about that real quickly. Some of the apps are free, but you know, sometimes free is not always free or not always good. But there are a couple that are free that are pretty good, and they have pretty good reviews. 1Password is one of those. But I found this one, mSecure. And you pay $9.99 for the app, and it's a one-time fee. There are others that you have to pay like a monthly or an annual fee because, well, this is generically, and in my opinion, it ends up that you're paying for the cloud storage that the app is keeping your data on. But with mSecure, you pay at one time. Now, if you want the similar whole app on your desktop or your laptop, for mSecure is $20, so that actually on your laptop you can enter this data. Now, there is a free download for backing up what you have on your smartphone. You can download that to your desktop or to your laptop, and you can actually create save backups to your laptop. so that you also, once again, you have a hard backup that you can put on a disk if you want to put in your safe. Because some of my stuff I will put on a disk, on a DVD disk, and put in my safe, like banking information, so that if something happens, then whoever, and in my case my daughter, whoever has access to your safe deposit box, they'll be able to get this information and have access to your financials or whatever secure information that you want. So that's just a heads up on that. Okay, so this is the first screenshot when you start up the app, and I'm not going to go through how you download it and all of that. You got to do that. So of course you have to create a master password, and this one password you do need to keep somewhere, because it's the doorway to all your other passwords. So yes, find someplace secure to keep whatever password you create here in mSecure. Okay, and you can create a hint, so it can create a hint that will help you with your password. And then you also get 20 tries in case you don't enter the password correctly, or if somebody gets your phone and they're trying to go in there to grab your password, you got 20 tries before it will actually self-destruct all the data. So know that there's a way that if you, hopefully you're no longer one of those people that will leave your phone and your keys on a table in a restaurant or a cafe or start whatever and go up and get your order or go to the restroom. Stop. Okay, but if you happen to be one of those, and I don't know, it's gone so viral, Serena Williams actually had her cell phone and her purse right next to her in a cafe, and this guy, and just, he's like a Wall Street looking guy with a white shirt and a tie on, had his coat jacket, his jacket over his arm, and goes and lifts her cell phone and leaves. And of course, you know, she felt something, and so she went after the guy outside the restaurant and says, "Do you really want to do this?" So that wasn't even with her just leaving it around. So people, you know, these are worth a lot of money. And I did a show previously that you can go back and watch the replays, where there's this statistic says that even if you just use it for home and just for yourself, there's $37,000 worth of valuable information that we keep on our phones. And if you're a business person, it's your rolling office, so you know it's worth a whole lot more of that. So anyway, with mSecure, there's 20 chances to get the password right before it will not lock you out, but destroy all the data that's on there. Okay, so Chris, you can go to the next one. Okay, so now I talked a bit about syncing. These are your options for syncing right now. You can sync via Wi-Fi, especially if you're home and you're on your own Wi-Fi network, or use Dropbox or iCloud. Okay, to actually sync this, all the data that you're going to enter here, you can sync those up. Okay, now getting into, okay, so go back to me for a second, Chris. I have to quickly tell you that it's going to take you some time to do the initial setup. Okay, so set aside a good few hours, because you're probably going to have to look around and find where all your passwords are to start with. And then also you want to start thinking about how you want to break down your categories. Now, they give you a bunch of categories to start with, okay, but you will be able to add your own categories. So just know that you need to set aside, let's say, a couple of hours. This is worth it, because we keep putting it off. I put this off so long. I've had mSecure on my phone for 3.5 years. Okay, so last week I finally just took the time to go through and actually set it up. Okay, but I did have a tool, because I've been putting most of my passwords in one place. Not a secure place, but I had a bunch of them in one place. And I had a previous tool on my laptop, on my desktop, that I was using that was secure. So just bringing that stuff over. So just take the time and get it set up once, and make it your project to have it done by the start of the year. you got a few more weeks, a couple more weeks left. Okay, so Chris, go to the preferences. Now you start out at preferences, and we're going to scroll through real quick. I had to do it in several screenshots. So you can look at this real quickly and see, you see the one that says preferences, change password. Oh, okay, I'm seeing me. Yeah, so here's just a quick look at, go to the next one. These are all, and then the next one, these are all on the preferences. So you get a lot of play with what you can do to set up. So let's go to, the next one is the self-destruct. So actually you get to set this up now. It would not be a good idea to set this on never self-destruct, or these are your attempts, or never have any attempts at all. Okay, but you get a choice. You can have it self-destruct on the 5th. If you know yourself and you know you may lay it someplace and you want it to self-destruct on the 5th time. Okay, so you have a maximum of 20 times to put in the wrong password before it will self-destruct. Okay, so you can set that up. You can also set up groups. So for instance, you might want to do one for you personally, where you have passwords that are just only for your personal life. Then you have some for your business. You can break this out into, if you have more than one company, you can actually call it by the company name. So you got a lot of flexibility there. It's just based on how you want to do it. And if you look in the upper right, there's a little plus sign. And that's where you can set up other groups. Okay, and so when you do start entering your data in each different company or password, then you get to designate where it goes, which group it goes into, and that makes you more efficient, a lot faster. Okay, so I'm just going to go through quickly on a couple of different scenarios. As I mentioned, they already have some categories set up for you, like banking, auto stuff, shop. But so I'm going to go through quickly this the banking one that I set up, because I added more fields to the one that was standard there. So for instance, this is just to get you going. You of course have your account number, you have your PIN number. They had in the name and the branch, the phone number for the branch, and so I went in, I added your online user ID, because that may be an email, it may be just your name, and then your online password, of course. And with the password, with each one of these fields, you can actually have it show in the main body of where you see these passwords of the list, or you can hide it if it's sensitive, so that for instance, you may not want your password to be exposed when you're looking at it, and you can go in and change that once you click on that particular entry. Then you can actually go in and see the password. Okay, and then I added the online banking URL, the address for online banking, so you can get to it fairly quickly. And then also a lot of times you might need to, if you're doing online bill pay, or you're paying for something online and they need to have your bank's routing number. So I put that in, the routing number, and there may be a different number for if you're doing a check or a paper. And then also for wire transfer, that's a different number also. So you can have all of this information in one spot. Okay, then here's some examples of some other categories. I just picked a couple that are pretty popular. You know, I'm challenged on remembering people's clothing sizes, like for all my grandbabies or significant others. So you can actually have this in mSecure as well. So, you know, if you need to remember somebody's shirt size or pants size or any of that, you can do that. I just grabbed that. Okay, and then here's one for credit cards. And I added a few more fields also. So you can add as many fields as you want. But I added the security code for the back of the card, the bank. I added also the user ID and the password fields. So if you go to your credit card company, if you go online a lot, then you want to have a place to have that. Okay, and then the next one is email accounts. Okay, some of us have 25 email accounts. We got 1 million email accounts, and some of them, they have different user IDs, of course, and passwords and all of that. So now you can have a central depository for all your email accounts. Okay, so this is the setup. Okay, this is the type setup, and this is one that I kind of put. Well, no, I think I used their default. Okay, so it's the user the username, the password. If it's a POP3 or IMAP, this particular setup, this was their default. But you can state if it's IMAP or POP3. That's a whole nother discussion, but it's really important to know that when you end up changing and you have to reset up your emails. If it's an SMPT and then SMTP, and then of course you can add some other fields. I haven't gotten to putting my emails in yet. That's another couple of hours. Well, probably not that long. Okay, and then of course frequent flyer, that's like a whole big deal too. We got 1 million frequent flyer miles because we're trying to get as many free miles as we can get. So this one, this is their default. I don't think I added anything, but then you can, I think I did set up one. I did set up another one. I don't think I might have a screenshot of that. It's travel codes, and I have one for airlines and I have one for hotels. But this is their default frequent flyer type. And so you can put in information there. Okay, the next one I find really, really important, I addressed that earlier, is your ISP and who does your hosting and who does your domain. I didn't do the domain one separate yet, but I will. Or your domain user ID and password, because if you're going to switch to a different host, then you need to have your domain user ID and password also. So here's an example. This is one that I put together. It says ISP host. So you have the name of the ISP or your host company, you have its website address, you have your username and password, your account number because they're not always the same, and then your phone number so you can like service their contact number. Okay, your user ID email because sometimes you may have to use the email as well. Okay, so that at least gets you started. You may want to add some other stuff, there's a notes field, so you can actually type in some notes that this host only hosts certain of the domains, but you have that flexibility to add that in. But people, please use something like this. If you don't use this app, whatever app you do, make sure that you can set this up so you can get to your host ID, your host information. Okay, I did the same thing. I just changed the icon. Okay, the next one is memberships. Okay, we got all kinds of memberships. We got our gym memberships. We got all kinds of stuff. Okay, so here you can actually set up that information too. And I think I added your username, your user ID, email that you use, your password, and then if you want to add some other fields, then you can do that. Okay, and then here's actually a note field. If there are some notes that you want to have secure, then you can create that, and then you can add fields to that as well. Did you show that one too? Okay, and then, I went too fast. Then prescriptions. Okay, this is really good for our elders. Okay, so when our elders need to be able to access their, and no, I have a lot of elders that now are using these tablets. They have really, really latched on to using tablets. Don't buy them computers anymore, okay, because they're not going to use them, okay? So, but they're using the tablets, and they're using these smartphones, the bigger smartphones, but they're really, really using the tablets, and this app works on the tablets as well. So they're really, really enjoying having these tablets, okay? So here you can set up the prescriptions and have their prescription number and all of this information, which is really, really handy and very helpful, especially in an emergency. Okay, then also shop codes for you shopaholics. Yeah, you can set up. I didn't set up any fields. I'm not that big of a shopper, so that's kind of low priority, but I know a lot of you are. So this is where you might put in your Amazon, and they actually have little Amazon icons that you can put in there next to the name of whatever your shops are. And there's all kinds of shops, so at least this is one place where you can have all of these all together in one type and get to them and scroll through them very quickly. Okay, the next one, this is a big one too, is your social media. Okay, and social media, that would be your LinkedIn's, your Facebooks, your Instagrams, all of those. Now here's a place where you can kind of keep them all together. So I created this one. I just put these fields in real quick. You can massage it and do however you want to do it, but it's so handy to kind of have these all together, because sometimes you may end up having to change, well, for sure with the emails, because emails get hacked so much, you'll need to change your password more frequently than you did. And in a lot of ways, we're supposed to change our passwords like really, really frequently. We don't get to that. We can't do that. But at least this is a way that will facilitate you changing your passwords a lot more often, and you can keep them in one place and get your hands on when you have changed the password. Like for instance, in the emails, the email one, I would put in there in the notes or create a field, a date field, last password change. Okay, so you can look at and have a date reference for when you change that password. Okay, and keep track of how often you change your password. And that actually, I don't think I did a screen capture, but when you put in your password, it will give you the option to create a scramble, have them create you a password, or you can do your own, which is really, really cool. Okay, so travel codes is next. And this is one that I actually set up, and I have the website, the username, the user ID, for the email that you use, your password, of course, then your accounts number, and then your rewards number. So with any of these, like the shop ones, any of those, you can create a field and put in your rewards number, because we want to get what we can get for free. Okay. Okay, so the next one, that was for airlines, and the next one I did for lodging. I just called it lodging, and that's for the hotels and the motels and the bed and breakfast. And the same thing, you put your user rewards number in there, all kinds of good stuff. Okay, so as you look at these, you're probably thinking of fields that you would like to add yourself, or how you want to massage it, so you have the opportunity to do this. Okay, this next one is website logins, and this one's pretty simple. It's whatever the web address is, the username and password. Like a lot of the online newspapers, they want you to have a user ID and a password to review certain articles. Okay, and then, so that's some examples of some of the different categories that you can set up, and I'm sure you'll be able to think of some on your own, and or just downsize it and just do the defaults. You can do that as well. Okay, so here's a screen coming up about how to back up this data, as I mentioned. We talked about the syncing. So I mentioned, so you can put the backup data. I mentioned that there's a free download of mBackup that I have on my MacBook Pro, and it's available for Windows as well. So if you're on a Windows platform, you can download this for free as well. And when you get ready to do a backup, if you're going to do it by Wi-Fi, then it finds, you have to be on the same Wi-Fi network. So it found the Wi-Fi network, it found my MacBook Pro, and so it let me know that this is where the backup destination is. Okay, and so as I mentioned, and then you can look down below, it says it'll be searching for the mBackup servers. So depending on what you select early on in terms of how you want to back up, this you can this is very helpful, because then it'll remind you, because you may have a bunch of different computers and you get to choose which one you want the backup to be locked to. Okay, and then the next one is the restore data, and you may want to, if for instance you did have to wipe your phone and wipe the app, and you want to restore, so you can get the restore and you can select where you want that restore to come from in case you're keeping multiple backups. Okay, and then they have, and some of the other password management apps have created their own browser. So within their secure environment, they've created access to browsers, so you can actually surf the web inside of their closed garden, so to speak, so that you're still within their secure environment. And what that allows you to do is, because you're in their environment, if you go to a website that requires a login, then it will grab your login data from your database and log you in within their secure environment, which I think is really different. So here, you can show that screenshot again. Here, you get to choose if you want to be within the mSecure browser, or if you want to go out of their secure environment and go to Safari. You actually have that choice to do that. And then, of course, you get to choose the default homepage. You get to actually clear the cookies like you do, with any other browser. Okay, and so I thought that was cool. I haven't done that yet, but I plan to take a look at that. And let's see, backup reminders. Okay, yeah, I kind of got these a little bit out of order, but with the backup reminders, this is kind of great. You can tell it that you wanted to make a backup after you do if you add 3 new database records. Okay, or you can tell it to wait until you do 50 or 10. So you might want to put it on 50 when you're initially inputting all your data, so that you don't get a message every three records until you get everything in. And then after a while, you can judge your pace of how often you're adding new data in there, or how often you want to have a backup. Okay, so yes, backup. You want to create a backup, and you can either do it by Wi-Fi, or as those options said, or you can have them to email you a backup file that can be in mSecure file. So of course that can only be opened up using the mSecure app, or you can have it sent to you, exported, as a CSV, which is a spreadsheet format. So you can actually get it into a spreadsheet, open it up in Excel, print it out, or do whatever you do. Of course, that you will have to put in your safe, because it'll have all your data there, or put it somewhere secure is all I'm saying. So CSV may not be the best option, but it is an option in case, for some reason you're going out of town and you will not have access to Dropbox or anything like that. You can at least have a paper copy that you can put into your safe, or put it in a safe place. Okay, let's see. What else do I have? Oh, and this is just a generic field type, and these are just some of the fields that you can set up. And I think this is you can actually find icons, okay, to put next to each record that more exemplifies what that record is. For instance, that's a familiar P for PayPal, so you can use that icon for PayPal. There's some other familiar ones. They've got all the high-end car icons in there, but there's all kinds of other icons, like there's credit cards, Visa, MasterCard, that kind of stuff. So you can kind of customize the look. And also, if you want to go to their pro version, you can pay $3, $2.99, and get more custom icons. And I haven't done that yet, but you may be able to actually make your own icons, and I'm guessing that gives you the privilege to do that. If it doesn't, okay, M7 people, make that a new feature. Okay, so where we can actually customize with our own icons that we can upload. Okay, and here's M7 Software's information in case you want it. We're now on version 4.5, I believe. And so this is the parent company. These are the brain children, not children, but these are the folks who are behind this particular app, and I applaud them for really doing a good job. There's only a couple of things, like I just mentioned, that I would add on top of what they've done, and I'm sure they'll come up with some other stuff to actually secure us. So this is a presentation that, in my mission to make you more efficient with your lifestyle, both business and your home lifestyle, so that you can have more time to do your passion and do passionate things and get in touch with your passion. And that's the What's At from Tech Diva and the Luxury Lifestyle.